Hard pow. Soft power. Smart power. Hard power. Power is the measure of influence exerted by nations over other nations. Power falls on the spectrum from hard to soft power. Definition: hard power is the ability to get others to act in ways that are contrary to their initial preferences and strategies. Hard power. In simple terms, hard power is how nations express their influence through force. Force could be in the form of threats, economic sanctions, or military force. Hard power. Physical hard power is now less common. Conflicts are no longer two armies on a battlefield. There is a global difference in the military sizes to the overall power status of a nation. For example, the emerging powers of China and India have a high ranking in terms of military size, but much less for measures of soft power. Examples of hard power: the UK and the United States imposed sanctions on Iran following news of its nuclear development program. Donald Trump proposed sanctions on imports from China as a tactic to reduce Chinese influence on the domestic manufacturing industry. This included taxes on $500 billion worth of made-in-China goods and the rejection of Huawei Technologies, one of China's largest mobile phone and tech companies. However, according to Forbes magazine, Trump did not join the 12-nation Trans-Pacific Partnership, a trade deal designed to exclude China. The Trans-Pacific Partnership never came into effect. Hard power in international relations over time. Traditionally, military strength, including naval forces, demonstrated the brute force of hard power on other nations. The Victorian British Empire nearly conquered the world with its impressive naval fleets. Hard power in international relations over time. But, look more closely, cultural identities were also passed on to the colonized countries. The Boston Tea Party, a protest in 1773 against British taxation policies in North America, marks the beginning of the revolution against the British Empire as a physical symbol of rejection of the English tea-drinking culture. Hard power in international relations over time. The British monarchy is still the honorary head of several countries. Superpowers may initially exert power from characteristic measures of dominance, but their presence requires varying levels of soft and hard power. Example: the United States has suffered from a loss of confidence in hard power following the well-publicized difficulties with the Vietnam War, Afghanistan withdrawal, and the continued war on terror. Example: China has followed the traditional route of first expanding military size to project hard power, but is thought to be moving towards more soft power influences, such as in the building of Africa under China's New Africa policy. The future of superpowers will rely on smart power, which is a balance between soft and hard power. The Comprehensive National Power Index measures factors typical of hard power and measures other factors. Comprehensive National Power Index: the number of resources in military and economic potential. Index of National Power: ability to compete in war. Hard power is risky, and failure has many consequences. Active military is expensive to expand and maintain. Increasing the number of nuclear arms is politically discouraged. The Vietnam War and the Afghanistan withdrawal are conflicts that did not have the most favorable outcomes for the United States. Security is no longer the main issue in international relations. According to the democratic peace theory, state leaders fear losing re-election if they propose war and want to avoid general accountability on risky military decisions. Economic interdependence through international trade and international institutions enhances cooperation and binds states to almost alliance-like relationships, so war and military use are not in their mutual interest. Soft power. The term soft power is relatively new and was first coined by Joseph Nye, Harvard University, in 1990. There is no physical enforcement on other nations, but as a consequence of an increasingly globalized world, we trade and enjoy goods and services from other countries. Soft power. Power is the measure of influence exerted by nations over other nations. Power falls on the spectrum from hard to soft power. Joseph Nye used the term soft power in the context of his international relations, diplomacy, theory. Power results in a change of behavior in others which can be achieved without competition or conflict, hard power, but by persuasion and attraction, soft power. Where does the term soft power originate? Nye may have coined the term, but the idea of soft power is not new. As long ago as 1857, Hata Masayoshi suggested that Japan should conduct trade with foreigners. Soft power has the advantage that it does not require as many resources and has more containable consequences in the event of failure. Cultural soft power is the most common form in the Western world. Type of soft power. Cultural. A growing source of soft power is the South Korean K-pop industry, worth an export value of $756 billion. K-pop is an example of a cultural export from a global media transnational corporation, TNC. Moral. Another global media TNC is Marvel Studios from the United States. 69% of major characters from the film series are white Caucasians. What is the effect on those from ethnic backgrounds to see only white English-speaking superheroes? Type of soft power. Political. China's new Africa policy. China is attempting to move from hard to soft power by funding and building new high-tech infrastructure in Africa. Economic. Negative economic effects are mainly one-sided. The National University of Singapore collaborated with Yale University in the United States to design its first arts university. When Yale withdrew their participation, local staff and enrolled students lost their school. What is the Soft Power Index? The Soft Power Index is a ranking formed from market research on the perception of a nation's brands. Changes to rankings could be related to a nation's response to COVID-19 for 2020 to 21. Germany has overtaken the United States as the world's leading soft power superpower in 2021. It leads on 5 of the 11 metrics in international relations, governance, business, and trade pillars. Japan is ranked second. In comparison, the United States has seen the fastest drop in ranking. This is thought to be due to the turbulent presidential election campaign in 2020 and public health concerns. Is the Soft Power Index a good indicator of a country's influence? Vietnam is ranked 47th in the overall index for 2021 due to perceptions of poor governance and a relatively low reputation despite having one of the world's lowest COVID-19 infection and death rates. It has also experienced one of the highest economic growth rates in 2021 due to being China's neighbor. On the other hand, New Zealand is the fastest improving nation, attributed to the swift COVID-19 response that the media widely praised. These examples show that soft power is influenced by recent events as recorded by news outlets. These can be biased. The soft power index measures of dominance data do not necessarily correlate with country perceptions. Why does Japan have a high soft power index? Strong brands. Culturally recognizable brands such as Nintendo and Pokémon. Consistently performing brands such as Suzuki and Nikon. Solid consumer spend. High levels of business investment. Top ranking in business and trade metric. Host to high-profile events. 2019 Rugby World Cup and G20 Summit and the delayed 2020 Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games. Japan's dominance in the soft power index is in spite of soft power problems recognized in the #Puta movement, including the petition to remove governmental rules that women must wear heels in the office, and the continuation of commercial whaling. Top-down or bottom-up soft power. Soft power can be considered top-down or bottom-up. Top-down soft power, the use of institutions to promote ideals. The United States drives the global expression of liberalism and capitalism through the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization in sanctions and foreign policies. The boundaries between modern-day hard power and soft power are blurry. How successful is the use of soft power? Bottom-up soft power, pushed through multimedia TNCs from the cultural sphere of influence. An example is the American streaming company, Netflix. It includes a popular show called 13 Reasons Why, which has brought up controversial issues such as immigration, abortion, sexual assault, and suicide. What is the future of hard versus soft power? The future world faces many issues that could result in high tensions, including global warming, outer space, and cyberspace. Soft power seems more likely to solve future geopolitical problems, whereas military force would be inefficient or insufficient. Nye, 2005, describes the future under smart power. Key points. Smart power is the balance of hard and soft power. Soft power is the ability of a nation to exert control by political, moral, cultural, or subtle economic means. Hard and soft power exists along the same spectrum of competition and conflict to persuasion and attraction. Key points. Diplomacy or international relations are a key strategy described by Joseph Nye in the original description of the increasing influence of soft power. This is thought to be due to increasing globalization and economic interdependence. State leaders are less willing to commit to war and more inclined to foster international institutions that promote economic alliances. Does China have more successful metrics on hard or soft power? China has a high ranking in terms of military size, but much less for measures of soft power. What event triggered the loss of confidence in hard power in the United States? The debate surrounding the Vietnam War made many question the utilization of hard power in the United States. Which country is ranked third in the Index of National Power? Germany is ranked third in the Index of National Power. Why do leaders fear war under the democratic peace theory? Leaders may lose re-election as war is not favorably viewed in times of peace. What are two indices that measure hard power? The Comprehensive National Power Index and the Index of National Power. What is measured by the Comprehensive National Power Index? The number of resources and military and economic potential, the scientific, educational, and diplomatic potential. Why is the Boston Tea Party a symbol of rejection of soft power? The Boston Party's destruction of British Empire tea shipments represented the beginning of the American rebellion from British rule. What is no longer a bigger concern on international relations? Security is no longer the main issue in international relations. This has been overcome by economic interdependence, international institutions, and the fear of state leaders to start a new war. What is the concept of China's new Africa policy? China's new Africa policy focuses on China's attempt to move from hard to soft power by funding African infrastructure. Where does the term soft power come from? The term soft power comes from Joseph Nye's international relations theory. Who was most affected by the collapse of the first arts university partnership between the National University of Singapore and Yale University? Damage was limited to local students and staff of the new arts university. How do you measure soft power? The Soft Power Index is a ranking formed from market research on the perception of a nation's brands, and is formed by many metrics. What is the difference between top-down and bottom-up soft power? The difference between the two refers to whether the soft power means was directed from a command, such as law or word of mouth, from the population.